Good morning, LinkedIners. This is Dr. England, your friendly international head teacher, broadcasting as ever from the west coast of Africa in Lagos, where it's slightly overcast, a little bit of Harmattan weather, so quite dry and quite dusty. So two key thoughts today. The first, as ever, to do with politics. Naively, in my youth, I used to think politics and education were largely unrelated. However, as a crusty old academic and head teacher, you now realise that the two are inextricably linked. I'm watching Gavin Williamson do what I can only describe as a cringeworthy broadcast last week. It makes you realise that one of the reasons that UK education has struggled to remain at the forefront of development is through poor political management. In terms of his ability to set hard and soft empirical targets, quantifiable targets, to say where he wanted to move and by how much, what sort of increments of improvement, who would execute, all extremely vague, all extremely woolly. And indeed, as soon as I start to hear those intensifiers like very and amazingly and incredibly, and they're not attached to any hard data, then I begin to worry, because an idea without a plan, it's just a wish. And I do wish that all our schools in the UK get back as soon as possible, with as little impact on our teachers and our children as possible. But obviously it's a clear concern when you have poor top-down management, like what Mr. Williamson exhibits, regarding how then schools execute that return to work safely. Second thought is this. For Mr. Johnson, I notice in the UK, whenever there's bad news to be given, he asks the scientists to do it. And of course, there's probably a very good reason for that. They're very good with facts, they're very good with figures, they are scientists. But I think the other reason is this. He finds it more important to be popular than to be right. And I'll repeat that. He finds it more important to be popular than to be right. Now, as a leader of school, or indeed I would argue as any leader of a country or a large organization, if you put yourself in a position where you find it more important to be popular than to be right, you should go. It is clearly the inverse that guides us. It's far more important to be right than it is to be popular. Personally, I'd far rather be right and set a strong strategic direction for my school, my staff, my colleagues, my children, my parents, than I would to be popular. It's not in the job description to be popular. It wasn't in Winston Churchill's job description to be popular. It wasn't in Margaret Thatcher's job description to be popular. It's not in my job description to be popular. It's in my job description to use my professional instinct, my experience, my data, my judgment to be right. And to go back to the political issue in the UK, if our politicians who are guiding education put a far greater emphasis on being right, setting a strong strategic course of action, setting increments of improvement, quantifiables, using empirical data to move education forward, then I suggest education in the UK would be in a far better position. Because what I see globally is this, that education in the UK, especially in the maintained sector, it's on a downward trajectory. Let's be very honest. Let's call out the elephant in the room. Whereas much of the rest of the world, especially parts of Africa, the Middle East, the Far East, China, their trajectory for education is on the rise. And looking at various statistics, you can see there's an intersection. The UK has been on that downward trajectory, some parts of the rest of the world on that upward trajectory. How do you change that? That's something for UK politicians to think about very carefully. But I assure you of this, for as long as they believe it is more important to be popular than it is to be right, that downward trajectory will continue. This is Dr. England, wishing you the very best for the week ahead. Keep your eye out for future videos. We'll be doing various symposia online. Lots to say about the impact of learning spaces. Lots to say about the impact of good CPD, and above all, lots to say about the impact of good AI platforms. Have a great week. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.